Chris, it's 2022. Why do I need email?
Because, believe it or not, it's still super effective. First of all, you own it. And, there are email fees, like if you're using MailChimp or something like that. But in the grand scheme of things, it's free to contact these people. You own that relationship. It's very effective. And we don't mean that you're going to send an email and 100% of your list will open it and go buy your t shirt. But proportional to how things perform, how messaging performs on social, email can be way more effective. So that is one very good reason to still have one. My second bit of advice would be don't just have an email list, but actually use it.
Yeah.
Which I'm guilty of this too. It's like I'll have a string of 6 months where I'm really good. I'm emailing every other week or sometimes weekly. And then I think in the last 6 months, I don't even know if I've emailed. Like I sort of just fall out of the habit. It's very bad because then my audience is conditioned not to think of me, but also so is their inbox. They suddenly, if I write them again, Google or whoever your Hotmail, whatever your email provider is like, oh, this looks like new spam and not someone you're constantly communicating with.
Yeah. I think it's important for people to really understand that in the digital world, this is still the only way we have to like own that relationship with fans, email or SMS. It's like people still use email like how we use mail for our physical address for mail at our houses. People really they've had that email address typically now for a long time. They use it every day. It's still the top tool for getting people to take action around something. So it's very important. And even if you don't email people, that email list, because we still use email like it's almost like our address on the internet, our how we, like I said, our houses have physical addresses, that you can upload email addresses on certain marketing platforms and retarget audiences based on that. So it's more than just whether or not you just send to the list, which you should be doing, as Chris mentioned, but that these can be anchor points for other types of marketing activity.
Yeah, and that just made me think of a few other things that we didn't have on our list to mention. But like when you're collecting emails, so first of all, there has to be a good reason why someone would subscribe to your list. So that can be you're promising some experience and then you should follow through on delivering that. It could be that they get some kind of reward or incentive, similar to what we were talking about with the follow campaign. Got to have a clear reason why someone should subscribe. You have to have a clear place to incentivize that. So that could be the homepage of your website, could be the squeeze page, could be on a list at your shows, and you make sure to mention from stage why they should subscribe. But when they do, you want to get enough information about them that it's usable later. And that would be
Mm.
like first name, at least, so you can customize the emails and make them feel personal, where they live. And that doesn't necessarily mean when you play in Detroit, you have to have them write that they live in Detroit. But at the end of the night, when you import that list, put Detroit in or whatever the zip code. You want to generally know where they live. Any other information like that that's very useful to you down the road when you need to reach out to them again. It's important to do that. I have some very old bad list maintenance practices where like half my list doesn't have names and I feel terrible. I'm like, I should know better, but it makes me feel sloppy. So start off on the right foot.
Well, sometimes people don't put their name in, even though they should. There's some, I think, some ways to get creative as well. If you're playing shows, QR codes have become useful again. And I think if you have the ability to have, even just at the merch table or on the screen, like if you are playing someplace and there's a screen behind you and you're able to put some stuff on it, putting a QR code up there so people can just point their phones and have it go to a place for people just to sign up for your list. There's a lot of tools, web tools that make it easy, from like a QR code can basically link to anything, but like you could have it linked to an email sign up form on your website, and you can get everybody at once at a show to hold up their phone, take a picture and add to the email list. So you can get creative and fun, but it's important to have that contact and that direct contact to people. SMS, I haven't talked to any artists that are using SMS much lately. I'm sure there are. So if you are using SMS, I would love to hear about it. But SMS is another one that there's companies that I get marketing things via SMS text. And apparently The click-through rates and conversions on those are huge, but I think it would be easy to burn people out if you kept texting them.
Yeah, and it's a text, so you have to keep your messages usually very, very short with that medium. But just another few quick tips on email is if you can set up an automation so that there's a welcome message as soon as someone subscribes, that's good. You say, hey, here's what to expect. Thanks for subscribing. And then if you want to tell them a little bit about yourself or basically do something where you ask them a question that they feel compelled to respond to, because the most likely time they are to ever respond is that first email when they are excited to have joined your list. So get them to write back. That sort of solidifies a bit of a relationship between you and that fan. But the other thing it does is teach the Gmails and Hotmails of the world that you're not spam. This person got your email, they valued it enough to reply, so you're less likely to go into a promotion folder. When you're writing your emails, try to sound like you, be human, don't be like overly salesy or markety. Although, in terms of being salesy and markety, I've come up with the term start with the button, which I know we've probably talked about in the past. But if you have one priority thing you want the fan to do, let's say it's follow on Spotify, the way you start conceiving of the whole email is to begin with that button, that call to action in mind, build towards it in a compelling way, and then write a subject line that can't be ignored. Like whatever you have to do to get them to open it without it being overly
Clickbait.
clickbaity. Right.
Yeah, yeah. No, those are all good tips, and if you're using a web host, a lot of times they have email built in. I know Bandzoogle does, and I think some of the other platforms do as well. So a lot of these, again, are tools that you have access to that are either free or definitely cheap if you're starting out. I know if you've used MailChimp, their price points escalate rather quickly as your list grows, but starting out with a small list, there's a lot of free options, and a lot of them will have like what they call an autoresponder, and that's an opportunity for you to, hey, they subscribed to my list, make sure you hit them with something immediately that gives them an opportunity to go deeper with your relationship with them, whether it's follow or check out some tracks or buy something. So it's just an opportunity. We're talking marketing 101. These things can be happening in the background, pushing your music to people once you set them up, and they just keep going.
And you definitely want to balance the goodwill ledger in terms of giving and taking. Like
Yes.
not every email you send should be asking for something, that's probably 2 out of every 3 should be not asking for something, at least in a direct way. I hate when people say provide value. I don't know why, it's just 20 years of marketers using it, but it's
Yeah.
true.
Yes. Well, and value, I think, with marketing 101 in general, I think that's just a problem artists haven't. We want people to take action. We're excited about our release. We want them to go do something. Please go do something. If you just do this, I know you're going to love it and I'm going to be your favorite band ever. Instead of thinking about, hey, I'm interrupting someone's day. What can I do or how can I position this that's fun, interesting, a nice break in the moment, worthy of an interruption? And that could be offering up a track, but it's just how you position these things a lot of times, that whether you're thinking creatively about how can I make this about them and not just me getting people to click on stuff.
I think you just rephrased provide value in a way I really like. Worthy of an interruption. That's great.
There we go. There
You
we
coined a
go.
term that I can live with. All right, thank you.
I'm gonna write that down. Is this worthy of an interruption? Because that's what life is now. It's just
Yeah.
random moments that are getting interrupted because we can't focus on anything anymore. I think just if you're starting out, or even if you're not starting out, I think this is an area where a lot of people are not taking advantage of this powerful, powerful marketing tool. Yes, email doesn't sound exciting, but people take action. So build that list and start going deeper with it, and you'll start seeing more results.